Our office is located on the corner of That Way and Anyway. So people...
Wait a minute.
Yes.
For real?
Yes.
The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I'm your host, Bill Knapik. Thank you for joining us. Once again, this is another Go Texan edition, and it's also edition number 419 right here on Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. When I say it's a Go Texan edition, that simply means you can go to the website, stewart.com/radio. As I make a YouTube video of each show, you can see the guests and myself in Western gear celebrating the largest rodeo in the United States, right here in Houston, Texas. So we like to have a little bit of fun and put on the Western garb and also bring tremendous real estate content to you. And today we have real estate professionals from Brazoria County. Where's that, you say? Well, we're going to find out right now. We have Tammie Bill. Her company is TBT Real Estate. Tammie, welcome to the show.
We appreciate the opportunity, and we're so excited to be here.
First of all, TBT Realty, about your company.
Yes, our company has been in business. This year will be 4 years. Is the most that is how long we've been in business. I've been a local real estate agent serving all of Brazoria County for about 25 years. 4 years ago, my brand grew, and I had a team, so that's where the TBT came from. It was the Tammie Bill team, and I started out with that branding so that when I changed over to my own brokerage, we had the logos and everything already set up. So it became TBT Real Estate. So we're excited to just the growth that we've had.
And when we say Brazoria County, I know that people here, Tammie, listen to the show on the internet after the time of broadcast, but even Houstonians that live in Houston, maybe they live in Sugar Land, the Woodlands, let's tell them where Brazoria County is, where you practice your real estate and your team. Let's tell them where that is in case they don't know.
Absolutely. Brazoria County is directly south of Houston. We have the least congested highway. So,
I'm on my way.
There we go. So what takes some people several hours to go the same amount of distance during rush hour traffic, we're straight down Highway 288. So once you get to the Beltway, we are about 30 minutes south of Beltway. So it seems like it's a long way out, but it's really not that far. So we're due south, and we go all the way down to the coast, down to Surfside and Freeport, Texas.
So would that be, for example, those familiar with 288, is that where we would go? And then from that Beltway and 288 you're talking about?
You keep going south on 288.
Versus 45 in case people...
That's correct. If it was 45, you'd be stuck in traffic. 288, you go south, and you can exceed the speed limits, although I don't recommend it because there are law enforcement.
We don't recommend that here on Real Estate Matters. However, people have been known to do so.
Yes,
probably.
So I want to warn them, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Absolutely. That is great advice right there. We could stop the show right now, Tammie. That's tremendous. So, okay, and you mentioned the town, Surfside and Freeport, right?
That's correct.
I think there's a big chemical company down there. Let's tell people about that.
There are a few large chemical plants down there, and that's one thing that has helped driven our real estate industry is we do have a lot of diversity. Freeport has actually one of the largest growing ports in our nation. We have Freeport LNG down there on the port. We also have Dow Chemical, BASF. We have the Dole plant. We have the nuclear plant. We have Phillips 66. So we have a lot of industry down there. So we have a lot of diversity. So not any one thing doesn't drive our market.
There are a lot of economic drivers.
Absolutely.
So, and you've lived there a long time as well as practicing real estate, right?
I was born in Austin, but I've been in Brazoria County the majority of my life. I moved here when I was 6 years old.
And Lake Jackson. Let's tell people about Lake Jackson. I'm looking at your business card. That looks like where your office is, right there in Lake Jackson.
That's correct. Our office is located on the corner of That Way and Anyway. So people...
Wait a minute.
Yes.
For real?
Yes. The opposite corner is this way and that way. So
That's the name of the street?
That is the name of the street. People often
Show first.
Yeah, I know. They think that we're laughing or making jokes when they say the street name is wrong, and we're like, no, we are on the corner of this way.
That's right. And I'm going to look at on the address. I'll read it to people listening. 108 This Way, Lake Jackson, Texas. That's a new one on me. That's tremendous.
Yes, it's fun. It's fun.
We're having fun on the show, no doubt about it. Let's tell people about the marketplace right now, because we have an idea what's going on here in Houston, but we really don't get a chance to talk about Brazoria County, Lake Jackson, this way or that way. So what's going on down there?
The market is absolutely still a seller's market. There is the demand significantly exceeds the supply. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not a good time to buy, because the interest rates are going to continue to rise and the values are going to go up. So don't hesitate, because you're going to pay more. But the demand is definitely exceeds out there. There's not a lot of room for growth in Lake Jackson because we're pretty landlocked and there's just limited amount of space. There's a little bit, but Angleton, just north of us, which is the county seat of Brazoria County, they have about 3,300 homes of new construction homes right now, with new subdivisions going in that are currently platted out that have just started this year.
So a lot of building is in progress, and a lot, I think, on tap is what you're saying.
That's correct. That's correct, because we don't have the inventory in Lake Jackson or the surrounding areas. So people are having to drive and commute because the inventory is not there. You know, this weekend I had offers come in on 5 different properties. One of them we had 4 offers come in, and it was significantly over. And when I say significantly over, we had over on a $300,000 property, over $10,000 over list price. I had 2 others that had multiple offers on as well that went over for list price as well. So you have to go in, if you're looking for a home in our market today, you have to be working with an agent that knows the market, knows when the properties are coming available, and don't hesitate, because if you hesitate and you think about it today, someone else saw it yesterday and thought about it and wrote so while you were thinking about it. So you can't hesitate. You have to be ready to go, be pre-qualified, and be ready to make a strong offer.
And in your marketplace, let's take, for example, 10 of the offers that you're seeing, whether it's one property or several, how many offers are you seeing that are cash offers these days in your market? Any?
Absolutely. Cash offers, we are seeing probably about 20%, or if not 30% coming in as cash offers.
So what would you tell, other than be ready, don't hesitate, what other things should the buyers know if they say, hey, Tammie, I want to buy a property in Brazoria County? What else should I do if I'm a buyer to be ready?
Absolutely. As a buyer, what they should do is, number one, have an agent that they want to work with. Make sure that they're being represented. So many people don't understand or know that they think they just call the person with the sign in the yard, and that's great. They'll be glad to represent you, but that person is representing the seller. So you want an agent that's going to represent you as a buyer and be looking out for you and telling you about the properties, letting you know that this is new on the market. It's going to be coming on the market tomorrow. So you can be the first one to go in there and make an offer, have the opportunity to make an offer on it. But when you come in and make an offer, be prepared to make a strong offer. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to offer over list price every single time, but there's things that if you have a good, strong agent, they can recommend to you, and listen to your agent. We're the ones out here doing this every single day. So just listen to them and take their advice. It's your decision ultimately when you're ready to purchase a home, what you're willing to pay. But listen to the advice of the agent and say they're going to be able to run comparable sales for you to show is the value there. And if you're getting financing, you're going to get an appraisal, so your lender's going to make sure that it appraises at the value. But there's certainly some things out there that you can do, make a strong offer, more earnest money, larger down payment, possession time frame for the sellers, the survey, home warranties. So there's different things that you can make on your offer to make it a good, strong, solid offer. We don't want to ask for the moon, even though you can. Doesn't mean you're going to get it in today's market.
We're talking with Tammie Bill. She's the broker owner of TBT Real Estate. Yeah, and her street is called This Way. That's correct. It's 108 This Way in Lake Jackson, Texas. I just like saying that. That's like you said earlier, it is fun. So, again, going back to that buyer, because I'm hearing about some buyers that are, I don't know what the word would be, but they're just getting tired. There's buyer fatigue in some cases where somebody may have tried again and again, and they keep losing the deal. What encouragement do you offer someone that says, Tammie, I want a place in Lake Jackson or in Brazoria County?
You know, I have my niece. She's young. She's about 25, and I was showing her just this weekend.
Is it a first-time purchase?
First-time home buyer.
I was going to bring that up.
And she is, so she's very young, and she's ready to buy a home. And she's in a price point that there's not 4 homes available for sale. Oh. So I tell her, be patient. You don't have to make a decision today. Make sure that it's the right home that fits your needs. Don't make the decision just because that's the only house that you like today. If you like it, be ready to go. Be pre-qualified, be ready to make that decision, but be patient and be ready to look at the homes the day they go on the market, ready to make that decision. Worst case scenario, you have what's called an option period where you have the unrestricted right to terminate. And if that's negotiated into the terms of your contract. Worst case scenario, you can always terminate during that option. But the biggest thing is be prepared, know the market. Don't feel like you have to listen to everyone that's ever bought a home and negotiate less, because the market's not the same today as it was 5 years ago or 20 years ago. So you have to listen to your agent, make a good, strong offer, and be patient for the right house to come on the market.
And also, like you said earlier, that is another reason to use a real estate professional that's very knowledgeable about a specific area and the real estate world in general.
Absolutely.
Because it's changed. I mean, even from 5 years ago till today, let alone all your decades of experience. I mean, the market has changed, and the way it's being done is it's crazy.
It is. The market has changed significantly over the past year. You know, the market will continue to change over the next year as our economy changes, interest rates change. So you have to be prepared. So I always say the pendulum, the way I negotiated an offer or contract 5 years ago, 10 years ago is different how we negotiate today. So there's certainly things that you want to do and be prepared. And that's where that expertise comes in with that agent.
As you mentioned, all the chemical companies in Brazoria County, does that mean that there's more people that you see, especially buyers that you're helping, that are coming from out of the state or not?
We see people transfer in and out of our area on a regular basis. We have a lot of people coming from California, Texas, you know, and we just hope that they bring our same values, and that's why they're moving here. But so you have people that are transferring. You know, one thing when I got into real estate, there's always been a big influx of people moving in and out of our area. And one thing that really surprised me is people said, is everyone this friendly? Is everyone this proud? And didn't really have a clue that people were not that friendly in other states or proud of their states. So that's one thing that comes across. They come and visit our community, whether they're retired or what have you. A lot of people, we had some just move from the north side of Houston down and just closed on a house last week because the less congestion. You're 45 minutes from the medical center from downtown Lake Jackson. If you really need to be there a little bit faster, you might be able to, but that might be exceeding the speed limits.
Well, that's why they have ambulances too,
right? That's why
right?
They have ambulances. That's right. But you can be there. We actually even have our own life flight helicopter
I was just going to say, and helicopters
yes,
too.
we have a life flight helicopter that is at our local airport at the Brazoria County Airport. So you can be there in a matter of minutes, which is a phenomenal facility to be able to have at our fingertips. But we have people that come down and they just really like the feel of the hometown feel, even though you can run into Houston for anything that you want to. My husband's originally from the Houston area, from the Bel Air area. So when we started dating, he came down there, and this was over 20 years ago. He was like, can you go anywhere that someone doesn't know you? And everybody knows everybody. And that's really how it is in our community. It's a small knit community. And so everybody knows everybody. And so it's a hometown feel, which you don't always get when you're in the metropolitan areas.
And you sound like a tremendous ambassador for the area, other than being one of the top real estate professionals right here in Houston. We're talking with Tammie Bill, broker, owner of TBT Real Estate. Tammie, what else do you want people to know?
Well, I just want them to know that we enjoy coming out and appreciate the opportunity that Stewart Title invited us here today and gave us the opportunity to share our knowledge and expertise in Brazoria County. If you're not sure what part of town you'd like to be in, then we have some great surrounding areas. But Brazoria County, Lake Jackson, Angleton has wonderful growth, a lot of community support, and lots of great activities for your families and bike trails, whatever it is you're looking to do. We have a lot of resources in our area.
And Tammie, let's tell people how they can reach you.
They can reach me, Tammie Bill, at 299-0001. That's our main office number, and they can always call. We have a full-time staff that's there, so our phones are answered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 979-299-0001.
Thank you, Tammie Bill.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
And let's welcome also from TBT Real Estate, Dina Pate. Dina, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's also a pleasure for the listeners and myself to talk about Brazoria County, because this is really something we haven't talked about for years, if that. So let's tell people your role with TBT Real Estate.
I am an independent agent. I work for TBT Real Estate in Lake Jackson. Tammie Bill is my broker. And we have a really nice office, and we do a lot of fun things in the community to get the community involved. I sell houses, and I help buyers and sellers with their housing needs.
All day long, right?
All day long. I love it.
Well, also, your background's a little bit interesting. Before you got into real estate, let's tell people what you were doing.
I was a global planner for Dow Chemical. When I left Dow, when I retired from Dow in 2009, I worked for the ethylenamines plant, which my plant was actually in Louisiana. I was the planner for all of the United States, the liaison with the Huntsman Chemicals for those products. I loved it. It was great. And at that point, we had a buyout merger. Dow bought out our business, and then it fell through. So I was offered a retirement package or move to Michigan, and I chose to take the package. And then I went to work for another chemical plant called Schenectady.
Also like Schenectady, New York?
Mm-hmm, that's where our headquarters was. And otherwise known as SI Group. And I was a scheduler there, and I worked there 10 years. So 20 plus years at Dow, 10 there, driving in and out of the plant every day, 7 to 5. So the last 5 years of it, I got my real estate license, and I worked full time and did real estate. And the last 2.5 years, I said, that's it, just real estate.
Well, it's interesting, too, having the choice to retire or go to Michigan right now at this point in time, 2022. A lot of people from Michigan and elsewhere are coming here.
Yeah.
So you headed them off at the pass, as they say. And just a side note, not that anybody cares, I was in Schenectady, New York many, many years ago, and there's a place called Lake George up there, which is very beautiful, by the way. So here you are, right here in Brazoria County, real estate. It sounds like you must love real estate to have gotten out of the world of chemicals and logistics, and here you are.
Yeah. I mean, I loved my years at Dow in the chemical plants. I had a great time, and it was very lucrative. But I love real estate. My sister and I flipped about 8 houses, and I've just always liked houses. And so I decided, one day this is what I'm going to do.
And let's touch upon that, because I remember reading your bio this morning, and that was the other part, the Dow Chemical, and the fact that you bought some houses, fixed them up, and sold them. That kind of wet your whistle, it sounds like, to be a real estate professional.
Right. That was a lot of fun. I have this thing. It doesn't matter what house I see. I look at it and say, how can I make that better? I can walk into an older house and try to revive it. So it's just.
So you have a vision. When you look at a place, it might be different than when I look at it or someone else. So
yeah, I can go in and see all the qualities of it and how you can fix this.
Let's talk a little bit about the price points in the Brazoria market. Now, I don't know. I'm not that familiar with the market there or even the cities, except that so far we've talked about Angleton, Lake Jackson, Freeport, Lake Surfside today. Which, as far as waterfront communities or even communities that are near water, I'm assuming there is. I've looked at the map. What are the places people would seek out to find these places where they say, I want something with that recreational feel to go to on a weekend or just to live there, retire, whatever?
I actually built a house on the San Bernard River and lived there about 10 years. San Bernard River is one of the more popular ones. The houses, when they come available there, they go really quick.
So what city would that be in?
It's in Brazoria, the Sweeney areas.
That sounds pretty nice, living on the river.
It is a nice area, but the houses go really quick. And, there's a lot of expenses that come with that because you have to bulkhead, you have to get permits for your piers and all that sort of thing.
But there are homes every now and then that we could get.
I just closed one a couple months ago out there. Yeah, and the houses. I mean, they may not appraise for what they're selling for, but there's such a hot demand for them. People are paying over appraised value.
The St. Bernard River,
San Bernard.
Yeah, like the song goes, "Rolling on the river."
Rolling,
rolling, rolling on the river with tremendous values for real estate. It sounds like. Now, let's say I'm a seller in Brazoria County, and I come to you and I say, Dina, I want to sell my house. What are some of the considerations? We've talked a little bit about buyers here so far, but what about the sellers? What are you telling your sellers right now?
I'll tell them what time can I come over? What's your address? I'll try to pull some comps for
By
the area.
the time you get there, it's sold. No.
Yeah, so I'll create a packet and I'll go visit them and look at their property. I'll try to get an appointment with them ASAP. And so I'm kind of looking at the location, first of all. Where are they located? That means a whole lot. The square footage of the house, how nice of a house, how well it's been maintained, how much acreage is with the house, what kind of upgrades have been done to the house, and that sort of thing. The school systems around and just the neighborhood.
Well, as here we are in 2022, well into the year, no one knows the future, especially as crazy as things are here lately. When you look ahead, Dina, what are you seeing as far as or forecasting the rest of the year? Do you think it's still going to be as strong, or what's your gut feel, let's say?
In my opinion, I feel like it's still going to be a robust in 2022. So I feel like houses are going to continue to sell at the higher amounts. And I feel like right now, although the interest levels have come up a little bit, if you look historically, we're still lower than the
Still
norm.
low, right?
Yeah. So my opinion is that you should buy now, because if they do start
don't know
going
what's gonna
up,
happen.
you want to do it now.
Well, and also when you need a house, that's the time to buy,
Right.
I suppose. As far as going back to the seller, when you're helping a seller list the property, or as far as what are the things you use? Are you using social media? What are the things you do to market the house? And I don't want to assume, and I don't think anybody really should either, that just because you put your for sale sign up, you're going to get 100 offers. You still have to have the house look nice to get top offer, and there are things that the real estate professional and you, the homeowner, needs to do. But what about social media and some of the marketing things that your company does?
As far as the social media, once I get it listed, I will advertise it all over Facebook. I'll do TikToks, Instagram, and all those sort of things. So it's posted everywhere. And there's a lot of groups on Facebook when you posted those real estate groups, and it goes everywhere. We put it on our Facebook page, and it'll be boosted, so it goes to people that wouldn't normally see it. And once we listed in the MLS, other home buying websites like Zillow or those sorts of
Realtor.com's one that's everywhere, no matter what city.
They get their information from what we put into the MLS. So anytime we update the information in there, it updates into all of those other systems. However, ours is the most up to date. So
it's amazing how it populates to all these places because these websites we're talking about. I mean, sometimes I go and look all around the country and look for maybe the smallest city that I've ever heard about, and bam, there you go. They're there. So it's blanketed in a crazy way, an uncanny way, quite frankly. So market's going to be strong. Interest rates are still good, but as far as the buyers, what encouragement do you give the buyers that come to you, Dina Pate?
So it's always
some of them are probably crying because they lost all these deals. I don't know.
I try to tell them, you might have lost this house, but maybe it was meant to be, and then a better one's going to come around. And usually that's what happens. There's going to be another one, and if it's in a couple of days, that you're going to fall in love with too. So I encourage them to get their pre-qual letter, and as soon as they tell me they're interested, I'll start lining them up, sending them listings, and we have to act quick. So.
Well, I think right now people need the real estate professional like yourself more than ever, because even if you look back 2, 3, 10 years ago, the realtor still had to be so many things to help people buy and sell. They need to be a psychologist. They need to know all the ins and outs. Now, like we just talked about, the realtor needs to be a bit of an encourager too, because of some of the new challenges.
Right. Yeah, that's absolutely true. So I love real estate and I love my job.
And you're sticking to it. I love real estate.
I do. I love this job, and every day I wake up and it's like I'm ready to get up and get going because I love it so much. And when you love your job, I mean, it's you enjoy what you do. And I'm out here to help the people, I'm not thinking about my paycheck. I'm like, what works best for my client? What's going to work best for them? And if I show them 50 houses and they decide they've changed their mind, it's what's on their timeline. It's you meet a lot of great people and you make a lot of great friends.
And each transaction and search or sale listing is another adventure. That's one thing about real estate. It's never boring, I don't think, is it?
No. There's a lot of opportunities. And
Dina, let's tell people how they can reach you.
My number is 979-236-3819. 979-236-3819.
That's right. You can call Dina Pate at 979-236-3819. And I will tell people the company website is TBT Real Estate TX.com, right?
That's correct.
Dina, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you. It was so much fun.
Let's talk to Jesse Glatz. He is also with TBT Real Estate. Hey, Jesse, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Bill. I appreciate being here.
Just talking between the break here, your story is interesting. But first of all, let's tell people your role on the TBT Powerful Team.
So my role is also, like Dina, independent contractor. So we are independent agents working for the brokerages. And, out there in the real estate field, you have what's called buyer's agents, seller's agents, and then we consider ourselves paycheck agents. So if we have any client that walks through the door, whether they're looking for residential, commercial, investment property, land, ranches, we do it all. It doesn't matter if they're buyers or sellers.
Well, also, your experience prior to being a realtor on the TBT team. Let's tell people a little bit about that. I think that's fascinating.
Yes, sir. So before being a realtor, working in big box retail, it was a lot of hours, varying schedule, it was good pay, but you have to trade off, a lot of time for that pay. So being a homeowner, what really took me by surprise and what was very interesting is I'm more of a financial guy on the real estate side. I saw how you can definitely set up to be very successful and, be very wealthy through real estate. So I started investing and, of course, bought my first property with Tammie and then let her know I want to do some investment property. Started going to shop the market and just seeing how extremely well it was working out with the investment property. So once Tammie told me that she was going to open up her own brokerage, we had such tremendous success doing the investment properties that I knew if I was going to make a career change and go into real estate, I'd want to go with somebody that has been there, done that, been through all the markets and was very aggressive as far as being out there marketing and being in tune to the market. So there's things that we do. It's just knowing the market is very foremost in what we do every day. So that's kind of what I did before and how I got into real estate.
Sounds like also you had the experience of more than one investment property with Tammie.
Sir. Yes. So I bought my original house, the house that I lived in with Tammie, and then all of my investment properties thus far have been bought with Tammie and through our brokerage. And, that's where I will continue to go as far as I buy investment properties. So,
and were these all in Brazoria County?
They are, yeah. They're in Lake Jackson and Angleton currently. So
well, I'm so glad once again that we're doing a show focusing on Brazoria County because it's really has not been done on this show before. So that's a great thing. Those listening, Brazoria County, I think there'll be people more interested in it now than ever, perhaps.
Yes, sir. The neat thing about Brazoria County, like we've talked about before, is it's very close to the metropolitan areas like Houston. You're very close to Pearland. So you have those big shopping centers and things like that. But we also have a lot of amenities down there, but you still have that small town feel. You're very close to the metropolitan areas, but you're only about 10 or 15 minutes from the beach. An hour to get to Galveston, hour to get to Matagorda, but we're right by Surfside. So you have a very neat area in which you can have a lot of amenities, do a lot of things. We have parklands and hike and bike trails, and the cities down there have just done a tremendous job of their revitalization, their downtown revitalization, thing like that. So it's a very neat area, small town feel, but you have access to all the metropolitan things.
You two are carrying the ambassador mantle, just like today. Are you on the Chamber of Commerce there, Jesse?
I am. Chamber.
Yeah,
there you go.
Just guessing.
I mean, we're that's one of the things that our company has pushed very hard is being very involved in networking. So me personally on the Chamber, ambassador for the Chamber, I'm on the board of directors for our Brazoria County SPCA. We also do a lot of work with charitable organizations down there and other events, and things like that, and very involved in the city as well.
And you said also before we started recording, we mentioned upstate New York already once this show, which is a rarity, as in Schenectady, but you came from Poughkeepsie, and you found Brazoria County all the way from Poughkeepsie, upstate New York, to
That's
here.
right. I sure did. Yeah, Poughkeepsie's a very well-known city up there, very historical.
Sure.
And I grew up kind of around that area, just a hair south, Hopewell Junction, Beacon area, which is very, very nice areas. But yeah, when I was up there, I did a lot of research, and I just wanted to get rid of get away from the taxes, the extreme cold, politics up there. And, just looking in the areas down here, I was really looking everywhere from Louisiana, Texas, New Mexico, just trying to get somewhere south and pulling it up on the map and just looking into it. I kind of looked at where it was located, all the amenities it had. And, that was 10, 11 years ago. And I was like, wow, this is really interesting. So I came down here, and I tell people all the time, I really found a home in Lake Jackson in Brazoria County. And there's no downside to it, but the downside is I had so much fun picking up on a whim and moving halfway across the country. I would love to do it again, but I'd really hesitate to leave Lake Jackson and Brazoria County.
Well, and then we're talking about Brazoria County, and of all the cities, and it sounds like you might have extra insight because you've had several properties. So you tried one on, you tried another, so to speak, I guess. But of all the places, the cities that we've already mentioned, of course, Lake Jackson, Angleton, right? Yes. Surfside,
yes.
Freeport. Why did you choose as your living area Lake Jackson? What is it about that city?
Lake Jackson has, like I said, a lot of amenities to it. Hike and bike trails. There's a lot of groups, a lot of ways you can get involved down there. And really, that was where I moved to, and just noticing, the surrounding places. I just saw how involved the city was. The citizens were involved with the city. Just a lot of the revitalization that's going on in our downtown area, things like that. And it just really struck a balance between the small town feel, but yet having what you call the city. I mean, we have a downtown area, those things, and Angleton does as well have a downtown area, but that's just where I ended up, and I really just kind of made it my home. So, a little biased because I've gotten involved in all those groups in Lake Jackson as well, but it just seems to be kind of the epicenter of where we are. That's where our office is located, where I live. So
the groups you mentioned are probably great resources for you to help others in buying and selling real estate.
Absolutely. I use those quite a bit, when they ask, where should I buy? Why this house opposed to this one or this side of town? Being involved in all those. And very recently, I have clients that are relocating, I think, from Lago Mar up in that area. And their question was, I want to make sure I don't move down there, and there's not a lot of things for me to get involved with. And just being able to put together that laundry list of different websites as far as all the parks and the community organizations and events we have going on, and all that kind of stuff. So it really helps, and also to know what's going on when you network and go to some of these events, learning from the city what their plans are, the master plans and the strategic plans for the future, where these conversations are going. It really helps us, and we really come through as the go-to professional for that area.
And you mentioned SPCA, right?
SPCA, yes, sir.
What are you doing there?
I'm on the board of directors. I'm also the treasurer for the SPCA. So, we're
super worthy cause right there.
Very worthy cause, yes. And they do a phenomenal job. And really, the cities are behind it 100% in that area. We love our animals down there, our cats and dogs. So the cities have been a very good partner with them as well. And it's just a good cause to get involved in, and being on the board, and again, doing those networking things, just getting your face out there and marketing. It's very important to be involved in the city that you live and work.
Those cats and dogs are a big part of our listening base. I don't know if you know that, but
yes, sir.
They listen every weekend. Do you have a dog or a cat?
I have a couple, yes. I've stopped it at a couple, but I have a feeling it's going to increase pretty soon.
Well, I would bet being around an organization like that makes you want to help yet another one, and you see one. I mean, yeah.
It does. Very, very unique, too. Those are animals. They can't help themselves. But we're involved in a variety of different ones. There's military organizations we're involved with. The Brazosport Cares Food Pantry, feeding the homeless animals. So we try to get a very diverse, section of the contributions or the organizations that we contribute to and help out.
And again, once again, that's helping you serve your buyers and sellers. As far as when you look at the crystal ball, you think about the rest of what's left of this year. What do you see ahead, or what's your feel?
On the real estate market as a whole, just looking at some of the national averages and the way it's going, I was looking at some numbers last week and this week, and really the 2010s were the largest unit sales increase in housing since the 70s. The 70s saw about a 10% increase, and the 2010s saw about a 12% increase in unit housing. The outlook for 2022, of course, with our political atmosphere, the economic atmosphere, I think it's NAR, the National Association of Realtors, has said they're looking at about a 3% decline in unit sales. However, they're looking at price increases. Looking at Brazoria County and specifically Lake Jackson, we seem to be on that same trajectory. Last year, we sold about 518 houses, and and this year's looking about a little lower, but the average price went from about $280. Right now it's on the market as about $308. So we're definitely seeing the price increase, but we're kind of seeing it slow down a little bit.
So you're helping individuals and families, but as an investor, are you also helping? I would think you have a little extra knowledge from the investment standpoint. Are you also helping investors too?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So I
thought that was going to be the answer.
Yes,
Just
sir.
guessing.
Yeah. It's very unique because as an investor myself, that's who I kind of gravitate towards a little bit more because, again, for me, it's all about the bottom line. Buying a home is a very emotional process, and there are some buyers that have no desire to invest whatsoever. They just want the home that's right for them. I like taking that investment knowledge and the bottom line return and letting them know how you can make this as much of a financially secure transaction as you can and what it means in the future. So whether you're buying, it could be just as simple as, do you really want to do this much down payment or something a little different? What are your very near future needs? Do you want to remodel, buy some appliances, set some cash aside? So how to do it with the most amount of fiscally responsible decision making you can.
And as an investor, do you see that even though it's harder to buy a home today than it was 2-3 years ago, do you think it's still a good time for an investor to buy a home, to maybe flip it or to rent it or some of those things?
Yeah, so it's a very, very funny question. So I used to think there were such things as good deals and bad deals a long time ago until I started doing a lot of research, listening to a lot of people that have gone before me and done it, are very involved in the business and very successful. One of the things that resonated very well with me is there is no such thing as a bad deal. Everybody's in a different position. If someone's buying a home in cash and someone's using financing, it may not be a good deal for this one, but it's a good deal for this other one. So there's also a saying in real estate that says the best time to buy a property was yesterday, the next best time is today. It always appreciates, and it's kind of like the stock market. And if you hold it long enough, even if the markets go up and down, it will definitely appreciate and you'll get your return on it. And Yes,
in fact, that looks like it's your, that's because you have a beard. One more reason people need to tune into the YouTube channel. But yeah, you got quite a beard there.
That's right. Yeah, if there's any face you want to put with the name, it's definitely this one. So we have the beard and everything. So
people can remember you too. So if they interviewed 2-3 Realtor, they go, oh, we want to go with Jesse, the bearded realtor.
The bearded realtor.
It's
That's
that
right.
easy.
Yes, it's that easy. Brazoria County is very
It's a sweet
unique.
spot.
It's a sweet spot, very unique, and especially for our real estate market. We are seeing, like we discussed before, there's a lot of influx, transplant families and workers and things like that, and it is very unique, has a lot of different amenities, and where it's located is very awesome. You get to the water, get to metropolitan, get to the country, get to the city, get to shopping very easy. So
Jesse Glatz, TBT Real Estate. How can people reach you, Jesse Glatz?
All right. So my cell phone is 979-292-6482, 979-292-6482. And our website is tbtrealestatetx.com.
And you can call Jesse 979-292-6482. Thanks for being on the show, Jesse.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it, sir.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance. With a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers, Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risk. Here he is, John Bramlett with Stewart Insurance. John, welcome again.
Thank you, Bill. Always a pleasure.
Wow, what a show so far. I'm psyched up. I'm ready to do 2-3 hours now.
That's fantastic. Keep going. We'll just do a couple of weeks worth of shows. We'll focus on Brazoria County.
Brazoria County, to me, and I have not known much about it, been there a couple times, but it is more fascinating than ever right now after hearing all this and doing a little research before I got here. And I bet there's people out there listening that are feeling the same way.
Absolutely. It's a growing area. A lot of great people. Definitely worth visiting and seeing our friends at TBT.
And yes, and Jesse, for him to be able to find that sweet spot in the United States all the way from Poughkeepsie, New York, that right there I'm still trying to reel from. I don't know.
Yeah, that's. I think he just threw a dart at the map and hit Lake Jackson, and
most likely. But in Brazoria County, people there also need insurance, and they need a great insurance advisor like the folks at Stewart Insurance, right?
Absolutely, they do. And the folks at Lake Jackson, just like the folks everywhere, need to be aware about the cyber threats that we're seeing in the marketplace. And I know we hype on this quite a bit on the show, but it's so important, especially for our real estate broker friends and our title and attorney agent friends, that there's just so many things that are happening. And there was a great report that came out recently by a company called Coalition. Coalition is a provider of cyber insurance policies, and they also provide some insurance security counseling. And It's our second annual cyber insurance claims report, and they looked at policyholders that were reporting claims or incidences. So what was that data? They looked at data from the National Association of Insurance Commissioners, and then they just reviewed the thousands and thousands of applications that they come across to try to get a feel for what those trends are in the marketplace. And things like we continually talk about, the more and more people work from home, the more and more people work remotely, whether it be from your car or in a coffee shop or on the side of the road, that's going to increase the cyber crimes that we're continuing to see more and more sophisticated attacks on both large and small companies. So I wanted to at least share with our listeners what those top 5 kind of trends were that they're seeing for 2022.
5, huh?
5.
And we're going to start with 5 or number 1?
Let's start with number 1.
All right, number 1 is?
Ransomware will remain a threat. So we've spent a lot of time talking about ransomware, and it's just what it sounds like, that I have access to your data, I'm going to control your data, and I'm not going to let you have it back until you pay me a fee. It's easier for the bad actors to use ransomware because they don't have to try to sell anything. All they have to do is cause you to send them some money. And as we mentioned a few weeks ago, they've even got it sophisticated to the point as they'll call your clients or the folks that are on your data list and say that we have your data held ransom, and if Bill doesn't pay our fee, we're going to release the information on the web. So they've really gotten very sophisticated. So ransomware is not going anywhere. The second one is supply chain attacks will not stop. Attacking a supply chain is allow a bad actor to affect and victimize a variety of companies in one fell swoop. So by hitting one organization, I can touch many, many, many more. For example, they hit a company called SolarWinds last year, and that affected something like 18,000 organizations. They hit Microsoft Exchange, a couple of their servers, and there was over thousands and thousands of folks, passwords, internet access, and all were affected or potentially affected because they hit that supply chain. So this idea of we can hit one source and affect a lot of people is why that area is growing. You see nation-state involvement, which we're seeing right now in the issues between the Ukraine and Russia, where a government is attacking a specific organization. So, for example, the examples I met with SolarWinds and Microsoft Exchange, those were both believed to be nation-state involvements where countries were going in. Many times it's from an espionage perspective, but at some point the criminals will get involved and then it becomes a criminal activity. That's one that we're seeing more and more of. We're going to see that cyber insurance markets will continue to harden. And we've talked a lot about this recently, that the requirements that they're going to have for somebody to obtain cyber insurance are tougher. The things that they're going to expect from you prior to even obtaining cyber insurance are going to be tougher. So, what kind of email security do you have? Do you have a website? How secure is the website? They're going to evaluate that website before they'll write a policy. They're going to require maybe some co-insurance where it's either less coverage or you'll need to have additional types of insurance in order to qualify for the cyber. They're going to have sublimits where maybe in the past you might have been able to get $500,000 or $1 million in coverage. Now it's $250,000 in coverage. So that's going to be, an issue. And then if you don't follow those guidelines that have been set, you'll either have a chance of completely losing your coverage or the rates will be extremely high. So you're just going to see cyber insurance markets are going to continue to harden and to soften. And then you're going to see, I think more and more, they're thinking more and more government regulations.
Wow.
New York Department of Financial Services released some cybersecurity framework for cyber insurance carriers. So if you're a cyber insurance carrier and you want to do business in the state of New York, which would make sense, there's some requirements that they have. The president recently signed an executive order to strengthen our cyber network as a country. And he's also hosted a couple of talks and symposiums with experts throughout the industry about cyber threats and what we can do about them. So we feel like, and this report from Coalition feels like, that you're going to see more and more government involvement.
I'm reading certain books, and in the books, the characters are hacking things, and there's, I mean, and these are books that are written in the last couple of years. So when these things are prevalent in our society, they touch every part, even the arts. It's fascinating, scary at the same time, and we hope these segments bring awareness and have people, as far as the requirements to get this insurance, it's like you have to jump through a bunch of hoops just to get it even, because it's so tough these days.
Well, it is
the
tougher.
threat's so tough.
It is tougher. And as we've talked about many times, an insurance company is going to look at several aspects of your business to determine, what's the level of risk and can they help you offset that risk. And what we're seeing, especially on the cyber side, is that they're going to have some expectations. So do you have multifaceted authentication? Do you have a secure website? Do you have email security? Do you have a storage facility that's off-site where you're storing your data? Do you do that on a regular basis? Are you updating your software patches when they come out? They're going to evaluate all those things before they'll even write you a policy.
Well, the good news is at Stewart Insurance, you're there to help people other than homeowners insurance, car insurance, watercraft, all these normal things that people need every day in and day out. You're helping real estate broker owners with cyber insurance, with assessing some of the risks, and you can walk them through your professional scan there at Stewart Insurance. You can walk them through what to think about, what's available in their situation, and so much more.
Absolutely. So, we can work with the business owners, whether they be a real estate broker or a property management firm or an independent title and attorney agent. Does cyber coverage make sense to them? And if so, let's talk about how to make it happen and what do you need to do. And then, as you mentioned, we can have some discussions about ways that we can minimize that risk as well, at least give you some thoughts to consider. And our insurance partners that we work with are really good about providing upgoing counsel on that as well. So it's an ongoing process, just like anything else. You're going to evolve and adapt. But those cyber plans can go along with a professional liability or an errors and omissions plan. We can help with your commercial property, your general liability, if you need workers' comp, employee liability. We can help with all those, as well as what you mentioned, your boat and your auto and your home and your apartment for renters, your vacant property. If you've got leased property, we can help with the insurance plans for those as well. Well, if you'd like to be properly insured so that you're really confident then when life happens, because it's going to happen, that you'll get back to normal as quickly as possible, have a conversation with one of our insurance advisors. And you can reach us at 866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827. You can visit us online at stewartinsurance.com to learn more about us, or email us, stewartinsurance@stewart.com.
John, I think there's a guy in Schenectady, New York, has a lake house off of Lake George right there in New York. I think he wants homeowners insurance. What number should he call?
Well, we're going to have him call 866-798-2827, and we'll write his home, we'll write his flood, and we'll write his
jet ski
boat as well, and his jet ski. That is correct.
And again, the number is
866-798-2827.
John Bramlett, Stewart Insurance. Thank you so much, John.
Always a pleasure, Bill.
And as we wind up the show, we have a special thank you, Lisa Espy, right there at Stewart Title. She is our business development officer. She's responsible for bringing the TBT team right here today. And so now we've learned about Brazoria County. If you want to close your real estate transaction, commercial or residential, right there in Lake Jackson, and I know you do with Lisa, simply give her a call at 979-297-6426. That's right, Stewart Title, 979-297-6426. Lisa Espy and the team right there in Lake Jackson doing tremendous work 24/7, even when they sleep. And she's back. Tammie Bill, TBT Real Estate. Tammie, here we are, the end of the show. What else you want people to know?
At TBT, our focus is trusted agents, proven success. And that statement alone says a lot about who we are. We offer, in our opinion, the most aggressive marketing program. And I believe in giving back to our community, encourage all of our agents to be very involved in our local community and support them and give them the support that they support us.
And we've seen right here 2 of your agents today, tremendous. And it seems like, as we talked before the show, they seem to seek you out, or they also know you prior to coming on board. So there's that dynamic energy, and there's also that knowing and knowledge of the person and of your company. How's that work? Tell people about that.
I'm a believer in training, so I believe in having the best of the best. And I always say that I want the best of the agents at our office. I want that to be a reflection of not just one of us, but all of us. And so we train every week. We have a weekly training meeting. And I told them when we ran out of something to learn, and 4 years later, we haven't ran out of any information yet. So we continue to strive to know the market, learn to be the best of the best agents. And I want to share that knowledge with my agents so that they can go out there and be the best of the best as well.
TBT Real Estate. Tammie, let's tell people how they can reach you and your company.
They can reach us at 979-299-0001. It is 979-299-0001. We're ready to take your call. Thank you so much for having us today.
Thank you so much, Tammie. And here she is, Dina Pate, also with TBT Real Estate. Dina, welcome back to the show. What else do you want people to know?
I just want you to know that I am here if you're ready to list or buy a new home, that I'm eager to help you, and I will hold your hand through the whole entire process. I'm here to help you for what you want and when you want it and what your needs are.
In your past experience with Dow Chemical and the logistics, you must have an analytical ability and skills, and that translates to helping buyers and sellers in a tremendous way, I'm guessing.
Yes, I have I'm very good with time management and organizing and looking at the numbers, price per square foot. What are you getting for this amount that we're paying? And I can look at a property and kind of calculate in my head a good asking price or offer price would be on it.
And how can people reach you, Dina?
979-236-3819. 979-236-3819. Give me a call.
They will. Thank you, Dina. Here he is, Jesse Glatz, TBT Real Estate once again. Sounds like a theme of the show, huh, Jesse?
It sure does. That's a great theme, TBT Real Estate.
There you go. Well, we've raised the awareness, we hope, but also I think there's probably people, not just in the Houston area, but outside that are hearing these words, and I think more curious than ever, and you guys are the ambassadors for all of Brazoria County. What else do you want people to know, Jesse?
Really, I mean, kind of like we discussed before, it's that age-old saying, the best time to buy a house was yesterday, the next best time is today. So to break it down real quick into those three categories, I mean, as buyers, the best thing you can do is be prepared, but also trust your realtor, whatever agent that is. But we take pride in making sure our buyers are ready to go and have what they need. And then trust your realtor as kind of the epicenter of that transaction, right? So we deal with the title companies, the lenders, appraisals, we kind of take all that information and help streamline it for buyers. So trust us throughout the process. For the sellers, I mean, really the three things are going to sell your home are location, condition, and price. So when we come out there and we kind of let you know what that looks like, we're very active. Our business does extremely well in Southern Brazoria County area. So we know what the buyers are looking for. We're very active in there. And then also as an investor, the best thing is that real estate is one of the greatest hedges against inflation. Where else can you buy a home?
Inflation, we don't have any of that, do we?
We don't have any of that, right? But when you look at your real estate appreciation, what's expected this year of about a 12% increase in sales price, but only a 3% increase in consumer price index, it's a great hedge against inflation. But as an investor, just for instance, if you're going to buy a rent house, where else can you have appreciation on that property, rent it out and get the cash flow, but also use it as a write-off and tax shelter? So it's a great time.
And let's tell people how they can reach you.
They can reach me at 979-292-6482. Again, that's 979-292-6482, or at our website, tbtrealestate.com.
Jesse Glatz, thanks for being on the show. And once again, thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I'm your host, Bill Knapik, and thank you, Lisa Espy with Stewart Title, a tremendous business development officer right there at Lake Jackson, and the team of escrow officers that are there are tremendous. So if you want to close your transaction, just go to stewart.com and you'll see the address and all the info for Stewart and Lake Jackson or anywhere else. The Lake Jackson number is 979-297-6426. Thank you again for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. On behalf of John Bramlett, Tom Carpentier, Justin Ramirez, Larry Warren. By the way, we'll see Larry Warren on the show next week, president of our Houston division. Thank you all for listening. Check us out at stewart.com/radio. That's stewart.com/radio. We'll see you next week.